All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Another edition of Beyond the Mic. It's 6:30 in Huntsville, Texas, USA. We have just had an incredible experience watching the late window of the NFL slate, which we'll talk about later on in the show. It's been a minute, though. Good to have y'all back here on the program. I'm Carlos Zimmermann, John Clendenin alongside me, and our producer extraordinaire, Justin Hardcastle. What a weekend of sports, let's just say for what it is.
Well, I would say what a week of sports. This time yesterday, or last week, LSU still had a head coach. Auburn still had a head coach. Georgia Tech was undefeated. We didn't have a World Series winner. We didn't even have an 18-inning World Series game. And so just overall, just a wild week of sports. We said it on the Twitter, even though we need a week and we take the week off, sports did not. So I'm excited to dive in wherever you want to start, be it college football, be it my GOAT, Brock Bowers, who just probably won me a fantasy game with 3 touchdowns, and his return. Josh Allen exercising some demons against the Kansas City Chiefs. College basketball tomorrow. It's just all over the place this week. So wherever you want to start, Carlos, I'm ready.
I think we don't break from tradition. We take a look first at the college football landscape and what an incredible weekend it was of college football. Some teams staying packed, some teams dropping games that they probably shouldn't have dropped. But as always, we dive into the rankings. Not much to talk about in the top 10 because a lot of it stayed the same. Ohio State's still on top.
You had 3 teams drop out of the top 10. So
I should say top 7
yeah,
stayed the same.
Top 7 stayed the same. But
Ohio State still on top. Indiana, number 2. A&M got a first place vote, number 3.
1.
Bama and Georgia at 4 and 5. Oregon, Ole Miss at 7. They all stayed the same from last week. BYU jumps to 8. Texas Tech back into the top 10 at number 9. Good for your Red Raiders, Justin. And Notre Dame into the top 10. The only 2-loss team in the top 10. Sound off, gentlemen. After the weekend of football it was, a lot of those teams in the top 10 won the games they needed to win or didn't play. And it sets up for what should be an interesting Week 11.
Yeah, I'm just excited. A&M had a bye week with top 10 teams falling like flies for another week. Honestly, we'll get it. I have my college football top 12 ready to go whenever if you ever want to do that. But I have to agree for the most part with that top 10. When I look at my personal top 10 that I crafted, I had a little bit of shakeup and movement in there. I have Indiana at 1. I think the way that they just go out and dominate teams and have where they've won and who they've beat, I think they are probably right now the number 1 team in college football. I have A&M at 2. When you look at a lot of the advanced metrics for the Aggies, their strength of schedule, the remaining strength of schedule, the average, strength of record, I think that all those point to A&M being a very, very good football team. Ohio State, I think Julian Sayin is firmly the Heisman frontrunner. He's had 4 games completing 85% of his passes with 3+ touchdowns and 300 yards. Those are just there's only been one other game like that in all of college football. So he's just been absolutely dominant. I thought it was funny. Nick Saban, had that little joke on game day that, he recruited Alabama and the coach there was an idiot and had him on the scout team his time there. Him being the last guy recruited by Saban. I think Georgia and BYU, BYU is my number 6. I know they're a little bit further back in the top 10. But I think, them being undefeated, you have to give them credit. And then Georgia, they keep on winning. Win's a win.
Yeah.
As close as that was last week or this week, they won the game. So I got to give it to them, Ole Miss had some close calls, but they keep winning. So overall, I think the top 10 is pretty solid. I think it's about as good as you can hope for. This is when I think rankings start to matter. We know the teams that we are seeing, and we know what those teams are. The preseason rankings, we're going a lot off based off of last year, but now we can finally see where these teams are, who they are, and get a better sense of that, especially this Tuesday night with the college football playoff coming out.
Yes, yes, indeed. It is almost here, ladies and gentlemen. The CFP poll will definitely sound off on those as they become available. Sorry, I'm trying to get a social media post out right now that we are on the air here on the KSAM YouTube channel. Share the link with your friends so that they can weigh in with us down in the comments below. We've already gotten one comment down below from a good buddy of mine, Justin Kring, just saying horns down. How about the Aggies? So, John, you'll appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Rolling through the rest of the top 25, Oklahoma, huge jump, the biggest jump of the week, tied with Utah, moving up 7 spots to number 11. Virginia is up to number 12. How about the Cavaliers? Having a great season in the ACC. Texas has started to creep back into the picture. They're up 7 to number 13 after their upset win over Vanderbilt. Louisville up 2 to number 14, and this is where we start seeing some of the drops. Vanderbilt down to 15, Georgia Tech's down to 16, Utah's up to 17, Miami, back-breaking loss to SMU in overtime on Saturday, down to 18, Mizzou stays packed at 19, and Lincoln Riley's Trojans is up to 20. Next 10, I like what I see out of that. I think they respected Oklahoma. And with their big victory, and then, say what you want about Texas. That's a big win over a Vanderbilt team that was poised to be in the conversation for the SEC title game.
Yeah.
And so gave them good respect, and I think the drops are very much warranted. I don't think anyone needed to fall out of the top 25 per se with their losses, so I think they got that pretty much correct, all well and good.
Yeah, when we look at it, Oklahoma wins a playoff eliminator game. They stay in the hunt for the college football playoffs. I thought Vanderbilt started out really slow, and it's really hard whenever you see a team like Texas who hasn't played at DKR in 42 days. They come out first play, throw a little screen pass to get something started on the outside, and Ryan Wingo takes it 75 yards for a score. And then all of a sudden you look up and you're down 17-0 in the first quarter, and then it's 24-3 in the second quarter. And, you didn't really get started until half. I don't think that Vanderbilt deserved to win that game with the way they tackled and the way they ran the football, but they made it interesting and they made it close, and I think that shows kind of the quality of talent that they have at Vanderbilt. Virginia, like you said, I think they are – them and Louisville, it's hard for me to bet against those two teams going forward. That loss against Georgia Tech, or for Georgia Tech to Louisville, really hurts. Now all of a sudden we're looking at Georgia Tech being out of the conference championship game. There is Virginia at 5-0 in the ACC. Then you have Tech, Pittsburgh, Louisville, SMU, and Duke, all at 4 with one loss. Georgia Tech and Pitt 5-1, the others 4-1. But that's just kind of a trend. If you take a look at some standings, you want a real mess. Look at the American. There's a 7-way tie for first, or a 7-way tie with teams at one loss. The Big Ten, Indiana, Ohio State on a crash course. Michigan has a chance to spoil that with a win in the game on at the end of the year. But Michigan 1 loss, Oregon 1 loss, Iowa 1 loss, USC 1 loss. So that's jam-packed at the top. And then Bama and A&M at 5-0 in the SEC. Georgia, Ole Miss, and Texas all sitting at 1 loss in the SEC. It is just a cluster at the top of these conferences that it's really hard to sit there and try to predict, because if A&M is 11-0 going into Good Friday down at DKR, and Texas is 9-2 if they beat Georgia, A&M might lose their first game of the season in Austin and then miss the SEC championship game. And it wouldn't be a bad loss for the Aggies, because you're playing if Texas beats Georgia, they're probably a top 10 team. So you're playing a top 10 team on the road in Austin. That's difficult for anybody. And then all of a sudden we're looking at A&M, who's been the driver's seat in the SEC all year, and they miss out on the SEC championship game because Texas would have the head-to-head tiebreaker over them. So it's going to be an exciting November, especially, I think, in the G5. We'll get there whenever we talk about who potentially is going to be representing them. Navy losing to UNT. It just throws a wrench into everything.
Yeah, there's. We'll talk about that in a second. Bottom 5 of the top 25. Michigan it stays packed at 21. Memphis back up 3 to 22. Tennessee drops 9 with their loss to Oklahoma at 23. Only newbie to the rankings, the Washington Huskies up to number 24, and then Cincinnati with their loss, they dropped to 25. Not all the way out, just missing on the top 25. Iowa on the cusp of it. James Madison. Another factor in the G5. Pittsburgh, San Diego State, and North Texas round out the 5 that just missed out on the top 25. Houston, the only team that drops out after their 10-point loss at home to Rich Rod in West Virginia. So, sets up an interesting look if you want to grab your predictions with the first CFP rankings coming out on Tuesday. John has already got his. So, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I got Indiana at 1. I think right now, if Indiana and Ohio State played in a conference championship game on a neutral field, I think Indiana is the winner there. I have Texas A&M at 2. I think A&M will run the table and win the SEC championship game. I think they've looked like the best team in the SEC, the only team to show me that they can win in a variety of ways, especially last Saturday. You know, I was down in Baton Rouge. I was in Death Valley, and Death Valley died halfway through the third quarter.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen. It got Brian Kelly fired. You just got a guy fired by laying down the wood in Death Valley. So you finally showed me that you can go into a hostile environment and win a game comfortably instead of a one-score game. I have Ohio State at 3. I think if Ohio State is 1 and 2 and Indiana, or with Indiana going into the Big Ten championship game, that they would only fall a spot behind the SEC champion. I have BYU at 4. I know we're going straight seeding. I think BYU is going to run the table in the Big 12. I think they've looked like the best team in the Big 12.
Absolutely.
It's hard for me to say that an undefeated Big 12 champion with the quality that conference has shown, especially when BYU would either be playing Cincinnati or maybe Utah again, that could be in the Big 12 championship game, because that would drop Tech. If they run the table, they would beat Tech. So
they do have Tech.
Yeah, they have Tech and Cincinnati. So they would probably be facing either Utah or Tech in that championship game. So they have chances to add quality wins to an undefeated record. I have Bama at 5. I think Bama will be in the SEC championship game at 11-1 with A&M. I think losing will drop them out of the top 4. They'll reward Bama with a home game. I have UNT at 12 in that first-round matchup. Really, that is just the fill-in the American Conference champion here. When we look at everything, the Mountain West, maybe San Diego State. It depends on how much stock the committee is going to put into them. I look at the Sun Belt. James Madison has started to make some noise, so they're receiving votes in the top 25.
Quietly sneaking up.
Yes.
7-1, and they've won 6 straight.
But I just look at the American, and with the quality of the teams at the top, Tulane, South Florida, Memphis, North Texas, Navy, those are the teams that I think we're going to see it come from, unless they all just continue to beat up on each other and get more than 2 losses.
I get that. We'll get to more G5 talk in a minute. Finish your
I forgot to fill in a spot. I have Georgia at 6. Georgia just being at 6. I think they are the second best team outside of the SEC. I think they're championship contenders. I think they're probably going to go to Texas. I think they're going to beat Texas this week. Or they're not going to go to Texas. They're going to host Texas. So I expect them to have that quality win on their resume. I have them taking on either Texas Tech or Louisville. I think whichever of the top 2
whoever loses their conference championship.
Whoever loses out of the Big 12 and the ACC, they will get a second team in. And right now I think that's either Tech or Louisville. Sorry, Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech could also slot in there if they upset the Bulldogs at the end of the regular season, and then we could see a rematch at Sanford Stadium in the first round of the playoffs. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I have number 7. I have Oregon. They're taking on Virginia. I think Virginia is going to be the ACC champion based off of what I've seen. And then at 8 and 9, I have Notre Dame and Ole Miss. I think Notre Dame has shown that they are a quality team with the way they've not just beaten people but dominated people since losing their first 2 games of the season. And that loss to A&M just continues to look better and better. The loss to Miami has started to look worse, but I don't think that is indicative of Notre Dame per se. So that's my top 12. I have Indiana, A&M, Ohio State, BYU at 1 through 4. I have Bama, Georgia, Oregon, Notre Dame, 4 through 8. And then I have Oregon, Oregon, Ole Miss, Virginia, either Texas Tech or Louisville, I think is going to be in there, and then UNT as the group of 5 to round it out. And that Texas Tech, Louisville, whoever's not there is going to be one spot outside looking in because they do slot in that group of 5 champion.
And then you would also, by proxy, also keep Oklahoma and Texas out
Yes.
as well.
I think as good as the SEC is this year, I think 4 bids is the most that they're going to get. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 SEC teams, 1, 2, 3 Big Ten teams. I have an independent. I have a group of 5. I have 1 ACC.
Potentially 2.
Potentially 2. 1 Big 12. Potentially 2. And I think that will probably be the breakdown that we see on the final selection show in December.
Okay. Now let's look at the group of 5 because that is just something.
That is the worst.
It is a hodgepodge.
It's great. I
it's
love
awesome.
watching it, but
it's awesome. But you look at the 5 in the American, the American 5, let's call them that: Navy, Memphis, North Texas, Tulane, South Florida, that can all compete for the conference championship. I know East Carolina's right there at 3-1 and technically still in the mix, but I just don't see that happening.
They have a chance to play a big spoiler.
Yes, they do.
But I agree with you.
But this is so looking at North Texas, big win over Navy, and they finish 2 on the road at UAB, and then you got to go to Houston and play Rice. Then you finish with K.C. Keeler in Temple at the end of the season. Then you move over to Navy. Who do they have to finish with? They got 4 they have to play. You got to play Notre Dame in South Bend this weekend.
Yeah.
That's tough. Then you have South Florida at home. And then you're at Memphis, who will more than likely still be ranked at that point in the season. Then you finish, of course, with the Army-Navy game. But that'll be after, I believe, the CFP's already selected. So really you have the 3 that matter right there, and it's your 3 toughest opponents. So losing to North Texas this last weekend, I think, was a backbreaker for the midshipmen's bid for a spot at the G5 bid.
Especially with Memphis. Memphis, here's the thing with Memphis, though. They have Tulane, and they have East Carolina. So they play 2 of those one-loss teams. So they both have the opportunity to clinch their spot, per se, in those games before you get to Navy.
Mm-hmm.
Or, well, this is a team we saw lost to UAB. So if they take their eye off the ball, it could be bad for the Tigers. And I know we've been high on the Tigers and high on UNT here on the pod. I think they were like the first 2 or 3. One of them, UNT, and South Florida were the first 3 group of 5 teams we mentioned.
And I have a slight bias with North Texas because there's a lot of Bearkats on that defense over there. And, of course, Skylar Cassidy over there, the former DC of the Bearkats. So I have a slight bias wanting to root for North Texas on that front. Now you look at Tulane. They really shot themselves in the foot losing at UTSA this last weekend. Watched that at the hotel in Shreveport. And UTSA just had their way with the Green Wave. But now you got to go to Memphis this weekend. And then you finish home against FAU, at Temple, home against Charlotte. 3 winnable games right there for Tulane, but you got to get the big kahuna that is Memphis coming up this weekend. South Florida, you have to finish 2 at home, 2 on the road. First, host UTSA, this week. I believe that's a midweek game for South Florida and the Roadrunners. Then you're at Navy, at UAB. You finish at home against Rice. So there's a lot of ways that it could shake out. I don't know how. I think North Texas has the cleanest path to win the American, and then it'll depend who will be their opponent. My prediction, it's going to be Memphis and North Texas in the championship game for the American, and ultimately, potentially, the G5 bid to the college football playoff. I say that because
James Madison in the past few weeks has started to sneak up.
James Madison's only loss is a 14-point loss at Louisville. And that's a non-con. They have run the table so far in the Sun Belt. Win over Georgia Southern, beat Georgia State by 7 on the road, beat UL, beat Old Dominion, who is a bowl-bound team, over this last weekend. Then they crushed Texas State. They have to go to Marshall this weekend, always a tough place to play in Huntington, West Virginia. Then you host App State, and then you host Washington State, who, by the way, just lost to Oregon State this weekend for the Pac-2 championship. And then you're at Coastal to finish. If James Madison runs the table, and they'll likely meet up with Southern Miss in the Sun Belt Championship, and James Madison runs the table and wins that whole thing, that might throw a wrench into everything the American's been pushing for this year.
Well, if we look at ESPN analytics, okay, you'll find this interesting, all right? James Madison, in their strength of record, okay, is 30. Memphis is 32. North Texas is 33. So they are, by the computer metrics that the College Football Playoff Committee uses, that strength of record, that's directly from their formula, they are a better team. They also have had a tougher schedule to this point, 111 for them, strength of schedule, compared to 120 for Memphis and 125 for North Texas. Now, their remaining strength of schedule is lower, but the metrics right there, they are metrically a better team than James Madison. Now, Memphis has that win against Arkansas that got Sam Pittman fired on their schedule, and they have some more marquee moments, but they also have that UAB loss. But the big thing for me, Carlos, okay, is, when we look at head coach openings, Arkansas, they're starting to whiff on the guys they want. Jerry Jones in Arkansas wanted Rhett Lashley at SMU, and he decided to stay at SMU. Rightly so. More money, more support. You're recruiting Dallas like nobody else. Mm-hmm. Stay at SMU where it's been successful. So now I start to wonder, do the eyes start to turn towards Eric Morris and as the QB whisperer at UNT? And what's the thing Arkansas has been missing? I know Taylor Green's been great. They have not had great offenses around their quarterbacks. Everywhere Eric Morris has gone, he's not only been able to develop quarterbacks, Cam Ward, Drew Westemaker there right now at North Texas, who was a 0-star recruit from Austin Vandergriff. I think Eric Morris might be a guy that Arkansas looks at. What happens with, if Jerry and the powers that be at Arkansas say, hey, we want you to come in right now. We just saw what happened with John Summerall having an eye on the LSU job, went into the Alamo Dome and got beat by Jeff Traylor. But it'll be interesting.
It will be.
That's the only thing about that group of 5 is I look at these successful head coaches. A lot of head coach openings. I mean, Auburn just opened up. So
that's now, 9, 10 Power 5?
1, 2, 3,
Power
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Power 5s. If you want to count Oregon, that's 10. Or Oregon State, sorry, that's 10. So 10 premier head coach openings in the country. Auburn, LSU, Penn State, Florida, Arkansas, UCLA, Stanford, Virginia Tech, Oregon, Oklahoma State, Oregon State.
It'll be interesting,
yes,
to say the least. Looking ahead to next week, Friday night, 2 nationally televised games. Northwestern at number 20 USC. Tulane is at number 22 Memphis. Both of them 8 o'clock kicks on that Friday night. Games to watch on Saturday. Is this a certified trap game for Indiana, having to go to Happy Valley? To battle a winless Penn State in the Big Ten. Never know what can happen there. Ohio State is at Purdue. They should handle their business. Ole Miss has an FCS opponent in the Citadel, so Ole Miss should take care of things. I think my 2 games to watch this weekend, obviously number 8 and number 9, Texas Tech locking horns in Lubbock. That's an 11 a.m. kick on ABC. And then Texas A&M is at number 19, Missouri, 2:30 p.m. following the BYU Texas Tech game on ABC. Those are my 2 games to watch.
Yeah, man, I'm really glad A&M had that bye week after the LSU game, just like they had the bye week after Notre Dame. I thought those were really well placed for Mike Elko's squad, that you get to kind of breathe, reset, and focus on Missouri next week or this week instead of having to worry about, getting caught up in the emotion of the LSU win. For me, LSU at Alabama. Alabama, we have seen struggle against not unranked teams under Kalen DeBoer, and I know it's LSU, but that's a brand new offense. That's a team that is going to go try. It's still Alabama. They're going to get ready for them. I also think that Florida versus Kentucky at Kroger Field. I think that this may be one of the games that could be the nail in Mark Stoops' coffin at Kentucky if he doesn't win it. Because the fans there are starting to get a little restless. And I've long said Kentucky's one of the best jobs in college football because you get paid a lot of money to only win 7 games. But when you start regressing and Vanderbilt starts getting ahead of you, that at Kentucky, not what you want to have. So if you don't beat a Florida team that has not been very good ever since they let go of Billy Napier, I think that is a big one. And then finally, when I look up and down this composited schedule we have here on ESPN, does Sam Houston finally get a win at Oregon State? They don't have a head coach. I understand. It's 9:00 in Corvallis. I know you've won 2 in a row, but they're 2-7. Their wins are over FCS Lafayette, and they beat Washington 10-7.
Yeah.
Can the offense you had at Louisiana Tech, where you had over 500 yards of offense, if that can travel to Corvallis, maybe, just maybe, the Bearkats can get a win. So, it's a great weekend of college football. Tulane versus Memphis is going to be a fun one on Friday night. And then, James Madison, I don't know where they're playing. They may be off. But that BYU Tech game, first time in 17 years, game day is going to be there. I'm excited about it.
They're ready for it. So
yes.
Let's stay in the college ranks because starting tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, one of my just favorite times of the year, from November all the way into April. It is just phenomenal, and I have to do this in honor of college basketball being back.
Basketball. That's NBC.
I know it is, but it's also it was Fox College Hoops for a little bit. So
Yes.
While NBA on NBC went away, which we'll talk about later on in the pod, College Hoops, it's back at long last for our 2 teams that we cover. Of course, for me, Sam Houston. For you, A&M. For A&M, it's a new era. I'll let you start with that. It's buckyball in College Station. That's going to be ramping up here before long. I'm going to take a quick look here and see who A&M is going to open with. They have Northwestern State, pride of the Southland Conference, tomorrow night. At one of my favorite places to watch college basketball. I've been to plenty of games at Reed Arena in College Station. So, John, a new era for Aggie basketball. Buzz Williams zips away to, where did he go? Maryland? And then enter buckyball.
Yeah, man. A&M was went 11-7 last year, 23-11. Very excited about tomorrow night. I'm kind of trying to sit and debate. Do I want to go down to College Station, down to Reed to go watch the debut of Buckyball? Everyone I've talked to, friend of the show, Andrew Monaco, really likes him. But he's a great talker. Now it's time to see it on the court. I'm excited to watch these points get scored. They're going to score a lot of points. It's going to be entertaining to watch. But just the buy-in that this completely new roster, you return one guy, preferred walk-on named Chris McDermott was the only person that did not follow Buzz Williams to Maryland. Those are both from the recruit rankings and the team last year. But when you look at the roster, Rashawn Agee, the team captain from USC, going to be very good. Rylan Griffin, a transfer from Kansas that was on Alabama's Final Four team, also has potential. Pop Isaacs from Las Vegas, played at Tech, went to Creighton, got hurt last year, went back in the portal after their coach, some coaching stuff with them, decides to come to A&M. Who'll be very fun to watch when he gets healthy. The big name, Mackenzie Mbaku, transfer from Indiana, Big Ten player, our freshman of the year 2 years ago, tore up the NBA draft combine in the scrimmages and in his testing. They said if you go back to A&M and you continue to play the way you played here this week, you'll be a first-round draft pick next year. So that's the kind of potential that you have. And in college basketball, you need that kind of star power.
You do.
The guy that I'm very excited about that not a lot of college basketball people will know right now, he's a name I think people will absolutely know by the end of the year, is going to be Ruben Dominguez. He's a transfer from Spain. He was playing over in the Euro League for a couple years. He comes in as a sophomore, 6'6", 213, sharpshooter. The stories coming out of practice is that he's going 70 for 75 during their work periods, and brings that European basketball style with him. So very adept at shooting the ball, very adept at working in systems, will play defense. Very excited. I mean, it's a team of unknowns. That's why they were picked so low, but the floor is very high and the ceiling is even higher. It's just how can a team gel in this age of college basketball, bringing all these guys in together that have never played together. How much can that team gel to get ready? But the good news is you play Northwestern State, Texas Southern, UCF, Montana, Manhattan, Mississippi Valley State, all at home before Florida State at home the same day you play Texas in football. Mm-hmm. So your only road game for the first month of the season is at Oklahoma State on a Saturday.
Can attest, tough place to play.
Tough place to play, but also a rebuilding team. Mm-hmm. So a sneaky game right there, but you're going to see A&M come out probably at about 11-3, 12-2 with the non-conference schedule that they have, and I like that it's a lighter non-conference schedule to let you go make some noise in conference play.
Yeah, I look at y'all's schedule, and I think the two ones at home of the Florida schools, I think those are the two big ones that A&M's going to need to get. I think where your two losses will come is those two road games in non-con, at Oklahoma State, at Pitt. I've been there to both of them. Both extremely just powerful basketball programs that people in their communities, that people in Stillwater love their basketball.
Yes.
The people in Pittsburgh love their basketball. So those are two tough places to play. If you scratch one out in one of those, that's huge going into SEC play. But you got to take care of your games at home, especially these first two with mid-majors in Northwestern State and Texas Southern, which I think will definitely be the case. Before I pivot over to Sam Houston, I want to look at the top 25 in the AP and how that is shaped out. Purdue, the number one team in the preseason poll. U of H, national runner-up, number 2, defending national champion Florida at number 3, UConn at 4. St. John's and Rick Pitino, they are number 5.
The Johnnies.
Yeah, that's right. John Shire's Duke Blue Devils at 6. Michigan at number 7 in Dusty May's group. Number 8 is BYU. Kentucky at 9. And the Red Raiders looking good on both the hardwood and on the gridiron. They are the number 10 team in the country. Just about every blue blood that you can imagine in college basketball is in the top 25, including our old friends at North Carolina, who are at the bottom at number 25. They're always there, and they'll always be there. Just
I know
from name notoriety and just they don't have a bad team going into this year.
No, they don't have a bad team. It's always funny to me that North Carolina always is top 25, and then they'll probably lose a couple of non-conference games they shouldn't,
and then you look at like some other blue bloods like Gonzaga at 21. Different era for Gonzaga. You're no longer in the West Coast Conference.
It's the last year.
Oh, that's right. This is the last year they're in the West Coast.
That you get to only have to worry about St. Mary's.
You're right.
On your schedule.
Got a little ahead of myself. But, St. Mary's is the only one you have to worry about because Grand Canyon was initially going to make the jump to the West Coast Conference, a very good basketball program. I've seen it firsthand 2 years in a row when we were in the WAC. And they went straight ahead to the Mountain West.
Yeah.
So they're going to be off in the MWC. There's some legal litigation going on around that with the WCC not happy about that move before they ever even jumped in the WCC to begin with. The only newbie to that conference would be another former WAC program in Seattle. So shouldn't be that much of it. Oregon State and Washington State, they play in the WCC in non-football sports, so they're a factor in there as well. But Gonzaga should run the table and find themselves back into a decent spot in March Madness, which will be a topic of conversation later. All right, we'll talk about the Bearkats going into this third year of Conference USA for Chris Mudge. Get underway with Eterno tomorrow night at Johnson Coliseum. It's a doubleheader with the women's team. They take on Southwestern Christian at 4 o'clock. The Bearkats are at 6:30. Looking at this team, I went and got to see them in practice the other day on Wednesday, and there's a lot that they have to replace going into this new year. They have to replace 96% of their scoring from a year ago. They scored 2,411 points with 97 points coming from their returners.
Yeah, but how many of that was Lamar Wilkerson?
A good amount of it. It was a good amount. A good amount was Lamar. I'll give him that. But your returners, Jackson Ford, Check Njai, Jackson Rogers, are your only 3 returners that scored last year. Ford with 69 points, Check with 23. Jackson Rogers only had 5 points in the first couple of games of the season. So you lose, quality guys that were a big part of your program. Lamar Wilkerson, now at Indiana. Khalifa Sacco, he's now with a team that's going to compete for another national championship in U of H. You lose them. Josiah Hammonds, who was a redshirt senior transfer with another year of eligibility. He's now back home in Chicago playing for UIC. Eric Taylor transferred out, a freshman guard. He's now at Presbyterian. Wade Nealon left the team, one of the walk-ons from last year. Marcus Boykin, Brennan Burns, they both graduated. And Dorian Finister, who left the team mid-season, he's now at Louisiana. So a lot of replacing that the Bearkats had to do. And you bring in guys that are from mid-majors, but I think the biggest grab that they got was an NAIA All-American and the defending player of the year in the NAIA, Kashi Nat. They got him from LSU Alexandria. That's a guy the Bearcat fans are going to need to watch for this season. Dude's a dog. He can jump out of the building. He will fight for every rebound that you can get. So that is a big grab that the Bearcats got. They got an all-MEAC guard from North Carolina Central, and I arguably think the best name in college basketball. That's me being biased, but his name is Po Boy King. That was a big grab, a guy that shot the ball extremely well for NC Central, who has been in the NCAA tournaments before. And then you bring in Justin Begg from George Mason, who will likely be the starting point guard for the Bearcats to fill that role that Marcus Boykin has vacated. Then you went and got some depth pieces. Velko Ilic from Loyola, Maryland. And then Isaiah Manning comes down I-45 from TCU to join the Bearcats. But I think the biggest X factor is they have Damon Nicholas Jr. back for a 5th year after he got hurt in the preseason last season, had a breakout junior year the year before that, and really a good sophomore season as well. So that is big to get him back as the leader of this team. You had to have a guy come back from last year's team and be able to help lead this new era of Bearcat basketball. Talking with Coach Mudge, there are going to be a lot of freshmen that are on this roster that are going to find themselves some playing time. Of course, they bring in two J names, Jacoby Coleman from Fort Smith, Arkansas, played at Dynamic Prep in Dallas, and then you bring Jacob Walker in from Memphis, Tennessee, guys that'll likely see a lot of the floor. Then you have a 7-footer from Canada named Matt Dan, who could definitely provide some good protection underneath the rim to replace what Khalifa Sacco provided a year ago. So just to give you my take on it, I really like the look of this team. I look at their non-conference schedule. They got some tough trips in front of them. You play Laterno tomorrow, but then you got to travel to Lubbock and take on number 10 Texas Tech, which is a tall task right out of the gate.
Get that money, Sam Houston.
Yeah. So, and then you're at Utah, which is one where Sam Houston has won before at Salt Lake City. Then you get to host Wyoming, a Mountain West team coming to Huntsville. That'll be a fun one. You have a non-D1 with Schreiner after that. Then you have an MTE versus Idaho State in Idaho. Games you feel like you can go get. And then you got 4 straight on the road to close out 2025. You're at Oklahoma State, you're at Texas Southern, and then you're at Oregon State. Then you open conference December 21st at New Mexico State.
But tell me who they played December 28th, Carlos.
That's right.
Who did we buy the win from?
College of Biblical Studies.
Where is that?
In Houston.
In Houston. Okay.
Yes.
Didn't think that would be there.
Yeah. The ambassadors of the College of Biblical Studies is the last non-con game for the Bearcats. By the way, the College of Biblical Studies, this is just a great profit plan. They play 9 other D1 programs this fall.
Yeah, no. Man, hold on. I have to find something while we talk. Because I found there's a program out there that I saw on Twitter that is the same way. That this is how the school raises money. Is, hey, we're going to field a basketball team. It's going to be all walk-ons. Don't offer athletic scholarships. And we'll just send them wherever they need to go lose. Mm-hmm. So let me see if I can find this.
So that is who the Bearcats will close out non-conference play at the end of the year. But looking at this team, it's hard to really gauge what this team, which direction they'll go until they start playing some of these games that they have in front of them. I think on paper they have a team that can compete in Conference USA and get themselves back to the top. Chris Mudge in his first year wins a regular season title in his first year head coaching the team, and then this last year they take a step back, lose a lot of close ball games in conference play, and then just couldn't ever get going, it felt like. So now you have a refreshed team with just a few minimal returners, but a couple key ones in Damon Nicholas Jr. and Jackson Ford, and then you try to piece the roster together with good pieces that performed well at their previous schools. So we'll see how it pans out. Play Laterno tomorrow at 6:30 at Johnson Coliseum. I'll have the call on the Bearcat Sports Network starting at 6:10 over at Johnson Coliseum tomorrow. So I'm excited for the season ahead for Chris Mudge and his staff, who I've gotten to meet over the last couple of weeks. And we'll see what happens with Sam Houston on the hardwood this year. And obviously the Bearcat fans, they're wanting something to cheer about after the tough football season it's been. So get out to the Coliseum tomorrow and cheer on the Bearcats.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited about Sam Houston basketball this season. I've been probably during my time here at Sam Houston, when ranking the sports that have been the most successful, probably number 1 is baseball. Number 2 is basketball. Coach Hooten before Coach Mudge was absolutely great. Just got the few interactions I had with him were amazing. Obviously, you open up with his Cowboys going to Los Cruces to open conference play on December 21st. No, New Mexico State.
Aggies.
The Aggies, that's right.
Aggies.
I was going to say, they haven't left yet, have they?
No.
They're next year.
No. That's UTEP you're thinking about.
Oh, UTEP's not going with them. They're not going with UTEP.
No, they're not.
Oh, okay,
so
interesting.
UTEP is the only one.
Gosh,
UTEP will leave.
Realignment.
I know.
It's just crazy.
We could build a whole podcast behind conference realignment. UTEP leaves after this season. And then the year after that is my understanding that's when Louisiana Tech leaves for the Sun Belt, leaving Conference USA with 10 teams. And from just conversations I've had, it doesn't sound like Conference USA is in the market of adding teams once those
Just
two
bring
leave.
us Tarleton. That's all I want. Just
That
bring
that
us
would be my
Tarleton.
only thing. That
Give
would
us
be
Tar-
my only
just
thing.
go get Tarleton. Great football team. Great sports investment over in Stephenville. But yeah, I look at it. Liberty, I think, is the clear front runner in Conference USA.
Dude.
They shot the lights out in every single gym they went into last year,
And they brought everyone
and
back.
they brought everybody back. But I think Sam Houston, all you have to do is get to the conference tournament and make noise. And it's like you said, the Bearkats, they were 6-12 last year. But man, there were so many close games. I know me and you were texting, especially away from Johnson Coliseum. You went 3-13, and I think 7 of those losses were conference games that you lost in overtime or by one possession.
Yeah.
On the road, that you could have easily been a 13-win team in conference. If you win all those, you definitely could have been in the top 4 if you win half of those. So I'm very excited for Coach Mudge. I know I'm going to be out at Johnson Coliseum a lot this winter. I'm really excited about this team, and I, like you said, I've seen the job Coach Mudge has done in his first year with everybody. It's hard when you lose a guy like Lamar Wilkerson, which, by the way, I just want to give a shout-out to Lamar Wilkerson. Goes to Indiana, and then in his first NIL payment from Indiana, this is a guy that's a millionaire now, right? Gives back a 6-figure donation to the Sam Houston State basketball program and athletic department because he understands where he got his start, right? And he wants to pay back to the people that helped him get to Indiana and potentially get to the NBA. And so just a quality young man. He was a great representative of this university while he was here. I'm going to enjoy watching him play in the Big Ten with the Hoosiers, and I'm sure Sam Houston basketball is going to get a lot of airtime because the dude's a baller. I wanted him to go to A&M. I was telling people over at A&M, I was like, this is a guy that if we can afford him, we need to go in the portal to get, especially when I found out Bucky McMillan was going there. Because the dude was the best three-point shooter in America last year, and the thing Bucky McMillan loves to do is shoot three-pointers. And so I thought he would be a great fit. Indiana gets him. It was Indiana and Kentucky, if that just shows you. So I'm excited to see, this staff find and develop the next Lamar Wilkerson that we can send off into the Power Four.
It's going to be a great college hoop season.
Yes.
I'm very excited about it, and it all starts tomorrow night. Real quick before we pivot to more local sports, I'm just curious of some ball games that are on tomorrow night. Usually in these first few games, it's a lot of bye games to start the season, but you have number 3 Florida at number 13 Arizona. Well, not at. It's a neutral site game, the Hall of Fame series in Las Vegas, so that'll be one that will pique my interest tomorrow, and that's pretty much it. Well, Villanova BYU ought to be interesting as well.
And we're going to have to talk about BYU at some point during the basketball season because if I have to pick a sleeper right now to make a Final Four run and potentially win a national championship, it's the Cougars. Bring everybody back from a Sweet 16 run a year ago. And then you bring in AJ Dynabota, I think is how you pronounce his name. Number 1 player in the country, number 1 overall projected draft pick. He is absolutely electric and is going to have the Cougars playing some really, really good basketball as I continue to try to see any other games potentially that would pique my interest. I think you nailed the 2 on the head. BYU versus Villanova and
Florida,
Arizona are going to be the top 2. But if we look at Tuesday, maybe we got some Tuesday games. No, our Texas at Duke.
Huh?
At the Spectrum Center in North Carolina, 7:45.
So neutral site. But
neutral site.
Yeah, neutral.
Let's get the air quotes around there.
Not much else on Tuesday night. Nothing really on Wednesday.
Well, that Texas team, new head coach, they fired Rodney Terry, brought in Sean Miller. He brought in a good portal class, signed some guys. Very excited for to watch that game. I don't know.
I
about
will say Friday, number 19 Kansas at number 25 North Carolina at the Smith Center in Chapel Hill, 6 o'clock on ESPN. That'll be
Yeah, but I'm gonna be watching Sam Houston at Texas Tech on ESPN Plus at 7.
well, yeah. I mean, I'll definitely be watching.
I'll be listening to you while they
Well, no,
play.
I'm going to be in Oregon with football.
Oh,
so we
never
fly
mind.
on Friday.
I'll be watching
so
that.
you'll have to watch that. Saturday slate will be Alabama St. John's. That'll be the big one to watch. And Arkansas Michigan State should be interesting as well.
Rick Pitino and the Johnnies, man.
Something about Rick Pitino.
Rick Pitino, what a character! I remember last year, Arkansas Michigan State on Saturday will be a good one. I don't know if you said that or not.
I did.
Oklahoma at Gonzaga in Spokane will be good. But, man, Rick Pitino, last year there was a quote where they were like, he was talking about shooting free throws. And he was like, when we get fouled shooting, I try not to want to kill myself. Because they did not shoot free throws well. But they were a fun team to watch last year. So, yeah, overall, welcome back to college basketball. I'll just go ahead and say it. Besides the Texas high school football playoffs, I think March Madness is the best tournament in sports.
Bar none.
Combine
that with the conference tournaments that lead up to it. It's a great stretch of
Which is the
basketball.
one that the last place team plays just every single person? Do you know what I'm talking about?
There's a couple
Is it the
tournaments.
Sun Belt?
There's a couple tournaments that are
The
shaped
Sun Belt,
like that.
that's like the staircase of doom.
Yes, if you're the 14 seed and the 11 seed, whoever wins that game then has to play
the 12 seed.
The 12 seed or the third. Either way, it's a staircase.
Yes.
All the way, and like the 1 seed gets like a quintuple bye.
It's great.
It's incredible, and you can only get that in college football, or basketball, I should say.
Yes.
Real quick, before we pivot to pro sports, of course, we have 2 high school teams that we cover here on the podcast. It's the Huntsville Hornets and the Navasota Rattlers. Let's look at it here. Huntsville, 35-21 win over Nederland Friday night, taking down the Bulldogs and solidifying their spot in the postseason. They're going to be the 3 seed out of the district, regardless of the outcome this week. And against Splendora, a team that has not won a district game this year. So Huntsville feels confident going into that ball game to get that. They'll finish, if they get that win, they'll finish 6-4, 5-2 in the district. Obviously, not finishing how Dave Campbell had predicted them to finish by winning the district. But when you look at who they were up against in Port Neches Groves and Montgomery being the surprise of the district slate this year, I think if you're Huntsville, you finish third, you're gonna take it. Playoffs with your first year head coach, definitely
losing a lot of guys too,
and then having guys lose via injury or losing after graduating last year. So Huntsville looking pretty good. They are on track for a first round matchup at Marshall, taking on the Mavericks in 2 weeks. So, excuse me, we'll see what happens, but I'm excited and proud of what they've accomplished this year under first-year head coach Todd Mabus.
Yeah, I think you are in a very, very tough district. Sorry, I'm emailing a coach right now from Navasota.
Got to take care of that.
Yeah, but you were in a very tough district, and I think a first-year head coach, you dealt with injuries, you dealt with a lot of things, to then be able to get to the playoffs and be able to start building your program through that, I think is huge. I saw it last year with Navasota. Navasota snuck into the playoffs in the last game of the year and went 3 rounds deep. And now this year, they're sitting at 7-2. They're 3-1, sitting in a tie for second place. But if they beat Fort Bend Crawford next week, they are going to have a share of the district title for the first time since 2020, and potentially the number 1 seed coming out of the district. They won 49-7 last week, and now they're taking on a 9-0 Crawford team, an 8-1 Crawford team, whose only loss I think is to 5A Iowa Colony, who is one of the favorites. No, it's to Belleville. That's right.
Yeah.
So, but Belleville right now undefeated, one of the favorites in 4A Division II to go win a state championship. And the Brahmas, they like to run the football very different than what Crawford is built for. So very exciting time in Navasota with head coach Trey Allen. and the Rattlers. We play on Saturday, so we will know ahead of time if that game is for an outright district championship or to be in a three-way tie for a district title, and that's all kind of tiebreakers and stuff. But
When it comes to the final week of the high school football season, just crazy things seem to happen every
absolutely.
single time.
And then we get the biggest elimination round tournament in the world.
Yeah.
With the Texas high school football by district round. So I'm very excited for that. It's going to be a very fun week for both of us and a very fun couple of weeks at least. I don't know who y'all's first round matchup is going to be against.
It's likely going to be at Marshall.
At Marshall. So a tough Marshall team. Historically, they're a very good program. But when you win and you get in, anything can happen. Navasota, they're going to play inner city Houston 4A schools.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not. Historically, you're going to move on past those teams.
In a historical sense, you obviously don't want to look ahead, but historically, it favors Navasota's district.
The District 11 and District 12 in Region 3 for a Division 1, the East Texas District of Kilgore, Tyler Chapel Hill, Longview Pine Tree, and Lindale, and then Navasota's district of the Southwest Houston schools, mainly Needville, Navasota, Stafford, and Fort Bend Crawford, historically dominate the deep East Texas region of Vidor and the Beaumont schools and the inner city Houston schools that they're matched up against.
So we'll see what happens. Real quick, before we pivot to the pro sports, I do want to highlight our producer here, Justin Hardcastle. He is a Wheeler alum.
I am.
And I'm looking at Wheeler right now, and they are on track to win the district.
We did on Friday.
Oh, they solidified it?
Yeah, we beat Wellington 13-0. It was a very big deal. We have not beaten Wellington. Wellington won the state championship in 2013 when I was in high school. We never beat them. We never beat them when my brother was in school. Never beat them when my sister was in school. So it's a big deal.
Big deal.
We're pretty excited.
And they finished the season on Friday at Shamrock.
Yeah, that's our big rivalry game.
So that should set up Wheeler for good success and a matchup with looks like it could be either Electra or Haskell in the first round of the postseason. This is 2A Division II, Region 2. By the way,
there in
so
the Panhandle.
up there in the Panhandle,
Yep.
where just football is king up.
It is.
It's king across the state of Texas, but even more so in the rural areas of our state.
Absolutely.
So, congrats to the Wheeler Mustangs.
Shout out to you guys, Wheeler Mustangs. Y'all are incredible.
Looking pretty good. Your only loss was to Hale Center, and that was an 8-0 loss, by the way.
Yeah.
So
Very weird.
8-0.
That's like two field goals and a safety.
Or a touchdown and a 2-point conversion,
Yeah,
and then their defense just played lights out. So Wheeler looking pretty good. Huntsville looking in good shape. Same with Navasota. So all three of our teams.
And if we're giving shout-outs, I want to give a quick shout-out to my alma mater,
College Station.
Upset, Pflugerville-Weiss, top 10.
Big one.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Second half comeback, we're down 14-3 at halftime. Head coach Stoney Pryor just has those boys rolling. They've won 6 in a row after starting 0-4 and 0-2 in district play. They made some offensive tweaks, and I've just been absolutely dominant on the ground. But just want to give a huge shout-out to Coach Pryor and those coaches. I've known them for, over 10 years now, if that makes y'all feel old. I do laugh with some of them. I was like, y'all were this. When I first met you, you were my age that I am right now, and now you have kids. So we all feel old together. But just want to give a huge shout out to them.
Who do they finish with on Friday?
They're off, so they have
done.
the week 11 bye, so they're done. They play the winner of Crosby versus Angleton. That's on Friday night, so maybe heading down there just to catch some high school football with my dad. Don't know yet. But, yeah, just want to give a shout-out to the Cougs. Back in the playoffs again. Have never missed in the history of the school. So,
and the school's how old? Like 12 years?
No, we've been playing varsity ball now for 10 years.
Okay.
So, 10 for 10.
10 for 10. Keep it rolling.
Yes, sir.
All right, pro sports. And I've been dreading to talk about this all day long because I sat through all 11 innings of it last night. World Series is complete. And it's the Dodgers.
The bad guys won.
That came away with the World Series. If you're a Dodgers fan listening, like
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Clayton Kershaw got a ring. Got
Richard
his last.
Zane, congratulations to you, friend. You got 3 in a row. I'm very happy for you. Okay, you can take off your Texags bio that the Dodgers are the rightful winners of the 2017 World Series. But congratulations to you, my friend. I said before the World Series or before the playoffs, really, I wouldn't mind seeing the Dodgers win because Clayton Kershaw getting a 3rd ring. Just one of the all-time great humans, one of the all-time great pitchers of our generation. Him getting to go out a winner, totally okay with that. But
when you look at Game 7 in hindsight, they should not have won. In the sense
I
of,
will not disagree with you in that sense. I'm not going to sit here and judge. I know what I would have done pitching-wise with Toronto. But I understand throwing your guy out there, your all-star closer out there.
I get it, but
we're fans of a team that didn't throw Garrett Cole when he was in the pin ready to go in Game 7.
this is true.
Would have won the World Series in 2019, been the greatest team of all time, and we didn't do it. So even AJ, makes mistakes. But yes,
Yeah, but that a brutal loss for. I mean, you feel for the whole country of Canada because
never thought I would do that.
they were 2 outs away
Well, and what's even worse is you had the bases loaded
in the bottom of the
and
ninth.
bottom of the ninth, and if he doesn't slide, you win the game.
Yes.
It is faster to run through than to slide. And Will Smith's foot came off the plate. I watched the replay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Came off the plate. If you run and you don't slide, you're not slowing down,
Mm-hmm.
then you win. Or you could do that Altuve slide that he likes to do, where I'm going to run even with the plate and then drop down at the last second and kind of throw my body out of the way. But, yeah, absolutely brutal.
And then you look at how the 8th and the 9th transpired. I mean, they get Dodgers' first 2 runs of the ball game were on sac flies. Then the home runs start coming. At top of the 9th, you have the 9-hole hitter up at the plate, and you have him on.
And it's
the
0-2.
ropes. It's 0-2.
And you let him back in.
You hang a breaking ball, and it's freaking Miguel Rojas.
Flick the
Hasn't hit a
wrist.
home run since
Flicked the
September.
Ricks, who hadn't hit a home run since September the 19th, mind you, and was having an awful World Series, hits one over the left field fence,
That's baseball.
and the game is tied. It can come from anywhere. Then you get into extras, and then you're playing this 4D chess match, and then at this point it's Game 7. You're going to throw everything but the kitchen sink. You throw one of your arms out there that was on 3 days rest in Shane Bieber, and then he gives up the blast to Will Smith that ends up winning the ball game for L.A. I mean, I don't have to really recap it. You all watched it. And then in the bottom of the 11th, just had nothing left, and I guess that's why Yoshinobu Yamamoto gets the World Series MVP, because that's what it is at the end of the day. So Dodgers win it 5-4. It is what it is. That's how the baseball season comes to an end. Just a brutal finish for Toronto. You feel for the Blue Jays.
But a great series.
A great series.
A great series for baseball fans. And, I'll go back to my friend Richard Zane, and he points out all these baseball teams are owned by multi-gajillionaires.
Yeah.
Okay? We don't need to hate on the Dodgers for spending money when their payroll is only $10 million more than the Mets. And all we do is lift up Steve Cohen for, look how Steve Cohen's investing in the New York Mets. He's great.
I don't lift him up.
But,
No.
look, if the Dodgers want to spend money, they can spend money. It's not our fault that the Oakland Athletics don't want to spend money and are pinching pennies. Okay? That's why I love Jim Crane. Jim Crane spends money, right? Mm-hmm. Now, he may not be dropping the bags that the Dodgers do, but he still goes out and spends money. And he just spends money smartly.
Yes.
Because he doesn't want to be over that luxury tax, but he'll go into it. So, I don't think it's the worst. I think Toronto also built their team through free agency. A lot of it was through free agency. Look at George Springer. Look at Shane Bieber. Look at Max Scherzer, right? Those guys were all free agents as well. So if that is what gets us the best baseball product, then I think it's on other teams to try to adjust how they do that, right? And I understand some teams can't necessarily spend all that money, but I look at the soon-to-be Las Vegas Athletics, and they're spending a lot of money on their stadium that could have been spent on payroll and just stayed at Oakland.
Yeah.
So, I think that if we look at it, we got a great series.
I mean, it was.
And I enjoyed it as a baseball fan. Even as much as I don't like the Dodgers, I enjoyed the 18-inning game, the extra innings, the stakes. It is what a World Series was supposed to be, and I would much rather take that than 4-0 sweep.
I would take if you take, I'd say, let's just take the last 10 World Series, 2016 to 2025. I think the Cubs and Indians World Series is at the top. It's at the top in terms of the way it went, and that's coming from an Astros fan.
See, I put 2017 up there because Astros still had to go on the road.
I know, and I simply put the Cubs on top
understand.
because they broke the curse. So put them. Those are the two at the top right there. Say what you want about the cheating and whatnot. It's all bull crap now. You look at some of these. I think this is up there in the top 5.
I think
Easily. Yeah.
let me go look at the World Series real quick.
Let's shorten the distance. Take the last 5.
Well, no, because I think that's doing injustice to the 2019 World Series.
2019 was
which
a
was
great
an
one.
all-time.
Went to 7 games.
Went to 7 games. The stakes of that Game 7.
Yeah.
Are they going to put Cole in? Are they not? Gosh darn it! I cannot look at the hold on, here we go. List of World Series champions. That's what I want. Okay. Yeah, I think 2017 for me. Then 2016 is number 2. 2019 is number 3. I think this is definitely number 4. 2022 and 2021 were also very good. Astros win one and lose one of those. So I think that's 5 and 6. And then I think, 2020 against the
Dodgers and
the Rays in the COVID year was also fantastic. So those are, for me, those round out the top 7. I would say this slot's in there. But honestly, it could jump 2019. If we look back at it historically, and be number 3. But, yeah, I think 2016, 2017 are the top 2. I understand the history there. I think when you have the Astros winning their first in the history of their franchise versus a juggernaut Dodgers team who was also cheating.
Yes.
Because everybody was cheating.
Of course.
Everybody was cheating. I'm not going to get into that.
But can we collectively agree that, from a historic standpoint of the last 10 years, the worst World Series of the 10 would be 2023?
I think last year.
Or last year.
Or 2018.
Yeah,
2018 was pretty
We
bad.
don't even think about 2018.
I mean,
Well, that 18 inning
they had the
game,
18-inning game, and that's why I think I would elevate that over 2023 or last year.
Here's my only counterpoint. I didn't even remember that they had that 18-inning game.
I sat through all 18.
2018.
So
I was floating around in the Pacific.
that's how out of my mind that series is. That I don't even remember an 18-inning baseball game in a World Series because it was just.
It's forgettable.
It was just a forgettable series. I remember the Rangers won more.
Well, given it's
because
more recent.
they were closer games. They may not have gone longer, but they were still closer games. It felt like the Diamondbacks were always right there in that. And then last year, I think everybody can agree. Nobody liked either of those two teams.
No, the lesser of two evils won that
Yes.
World Series. If there's a team, I think we can collectively agree on this podcast that we don't like more than the Dodgers, it would be the New York Yankees.
Yep.
So, baseball
Yeah.
complete from a standpoint of this podcast and what we'll talk about. It's complete for 3 months. College baseball we'll get into in February,
Oh, yeah.
which John's
I'm
very excited about. I'm excited as well. I think our last thing that we're going to touch on is what we have on the TV right now and throughout the whole day today, being NFL week number 9. Can we believe we're on week number 9? We're halfway done.
Sure
We
can.
are halfway done with the NFL season.
Yeah.
And looking at the day, boy, did we have some doozies. Thursday night, most predictable finish. The Ravens with Lamar Jackson back knock off Miami. Why is Mike McDaniel not fired yet? They've already come out and said they're not
Till
going
the end
to
of the year.
Till the end, they're going to give him to the end of the year.
Somebody's going to get a very good offensive coordinator out of
Yes.
Miami.
Yes.
I mean, he may be coaching the Detroit Lions offense next year.
Maybe.
I have no idea, but
Looking at the games today,
barn burner, Chicago versus Cincinnati.
that's what I was literally about to look at. Like 89 combined points, and it's Chicago that comes out on
750
top.
passing yards.
Yeah, Flacco
Wow.
threw for 470 yards.
Yes.
That's insane.
And 4 touchdowns. But the running back for Chicago, which is like their third string, I think, Monangai, 176 yards on the ground to help Chicago to a win. And the Bears, the monsters of the Midway, 5-3. The Vikings beat the Lions, so Vikings now 4-4. Lions dropped to 5-3, and then I think the upset of the day. Give a call to Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers, knocking off Green Bay. Green Bay was a 2-touchdown favorite, and
Gosh.
Carolina goes in there
Their
and
offense
beats
was
them.
miserable.
It was awful. They should never wear those uniforms ever
No.
again.
But you know what? Here's what I will say: 9 one-score games this week.
Yeah.
And we still have the Sunday night game that's on our TV right now here in the studio, and we have the
Monday night game tomorrow.
Monday night game tomorrow. Cowboys are a favorite. They're great at home. Terrible on the road this year. Can't get anything consistently going. But I have to, like I said earlier, shout out Brock Bowers. Welcome back. How about that for Brock Bowers?
Yeah.
I mean,
Ultimately, Las Vegas loses that game.
Yeah,
But
on just a wild. I've never seen a 2-point conversion batted down at the line of scrimmage before.
yeah,
I've watched football for 20 years. Never seen that happen. So
crazy.
craziness. But
And then, yeah, so many one-score games today.
do you want to talk about your Houston Texans? Or
No.
Me and Justin could probably tag team on this one, but
I mean,
today I really can chalk today up to being a wash because your star quarterback gets concussed.
It's tough. It's tough.
It's
whenever
tough.
That happens.
So the fact that they ran with the Broncos that whole game when CJ wasn't in the ball game, I think is a huge testament to that defense
Yes.
and what they can do. But when you don't have your quarterback, the star
hard.
of your team, it's hard.
Cowboys last year, man. I know. Dak Prescott being out, it's hard when
It's
you're
hard. And then you have Davis Mills, who's serviceable at best. He made some good
He's
passes.
still on the team.
He's
Yes,
still the backup.
he is
Yeah.
still the backup. You know who his third string is? Keaton Slovis, who was the quarterback at BYU
Yeah.
when the Bearkats made their debut at the FBS
Yeah,
level.
Oh,
started
man.
at USC.
Oh,
And he
man.
also started at UFC. That's the third stringer behind. So if Mills goes down, it'll be Keaton Slovis time in Houston.
Well, who was it a couple years ago when
Case
Schaub went down, and then
That was more than a couple years ago.
Matt Liner?
It was TJ Yates.
TJ Yates. Maybe he's the next TJ Yates, man.
You want to go further back. I mean, even when TJ was out there, they threw Jake Delhomme out there in his
Yeah.
song. Jeff Garcia was on the roster, if you really want to go that far back.
Where's
But
those were some
TJ
wi-
Yates right
those
now
were
is the
some
wide
wild
receivers
days.
coach and passing game coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons.
Yes,
TJ
he is.
Yates got us our first playoff.
He's the wide
victory.
receiver and the passing game coordinator and for Michael Penix. Oh, my gosh. I mean,
Make you
let me.
feel old right there?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, okay, sorry. Keaton Slovis is actually on the practice squad. Or, actually, no, he may have been cut.
Oh no.
In the preseason. So the backup to Davis Mills is actually it's Graham Mertz, who was the quarterback at Florida last year. So that's the backup to that's a touchdown for the. Oh, there's
Yeah,
a
flag
flag
on the
for the
play.
Seahawks. It stinks that CJ goes down. But I saw a post. He did a selfie, I guess, with his mom or something,
Yes.
and they were saying that he is okay. We'll see what it looks like for him going forward. Who do the Texans have next week? They're hosting Jacksonville, who is coming off that grinder of a game against Las Vegas. So if CJ's good to go,
I like our chances.
you like your chances, but if he's not good to go, it's gonna be tough against Jacksonville, a critical divisional game that you have to win.
Yes.
If you want to keep yourself in the picture.
Trying to keep pace with those Colts, man.
No.
Well, and the Colts lost today. Lost to Pittsburgh in Steel City. But
they're still 7-2.
They are,
Yeah,
and I'm impressed with what they've done. But Daniel Jones reverted to New York Giants. Daniel Jones today threw 3 picks.
Oh no!
Doubled his interception total of the season. He entered the game today with 3. So and then they have Atlanta in Berlin next Sunday. So I don't know. It's tough if you're a Texans fan right now today. But you ran with one of the best teams in the AFC. So I think. If CJ's healthy next week, they're going to be in good shape. And it wasn't the offensive line's fault.
It really wasn't.
CJ just ran, got out of the pocket and ran and took a hit.
It wasn't even like, because when we first watched it, me and Houston, we thought it was like helmet to helmet, but then you see the replay and it's like, oh, okay, no, it really was just kind of bad luck.
Just bad luck. But looking at the standings in the NFL, I mean, I'll say what I've said on this podcast. It feels like 2014 all over again.
We're back to high school, boys.
New England's on top of the AFC East. Pittsburgh's on top of the AFC North. The Colts are leading the South. The Broncos are leading the West, and the Chiefs are 2 games behind them. In the NFC, the Eagles running away with the East. Dallas does play tomorrow to try and cut into that deficit, but I still,
here's the only thing I'll say.
I still feel that tie, it's gonna come back and bite them.
Yep.
They're both 2-1 in the division. You have to remember, it's division first.
I know.
So, they've played their remaining division games. They're at Washington and at New York to end the season.
Is that Dallas?
For Dallas.
Okay.
So, if you're able to upset the Eagles and then maybe win those games, we're looking at a team that might win the division and sneak in. They're like the Cincinnati Bengals of the NFC. You got to score 30 points.
Mm-hmm.
If you score 30 points, you win. And we've seen that. They've scored 246 points, which leads the entire NFC. I think that's second to only the Colts, but they've given up 250. So
they've given up a lot.
They give up a lot of points. Got to score.
Well, you got to score and then pray your defense holds. I think the NFC North owns the Division of Doom marker this year because they're all at 500 or better. Green Bay looks good despite the loss today to Carolina. Detroit losing to Minnesota obviously hurt them, but Chicago wants to hang around.
Great pass rush for
yeah, and then the NFC South, Carolina's just reinserted themselves into the picture. I believe Tampa Bay was on bye this week,
yes.
So Carolina with that big win on the road at Green Bay, I think that's going to loom pretty large. And then quite a battle in the NFC West. The Rams, Seahawks, and Niners all within a game of each other, and then there's the Cardinals at the bottom. So Week 10 is going to be interesting, but we have to close out Week 9 before we look at that. So that's all I had.
Seattle's ahead right now.
And Seattle is
what
ahead
they can do.
right now against Washington, but they're on the road. So we'll see how that ball game pans out through the rest of the night. But what else you got, fellas?
Rockets looking good.
Good start to the year.
Number one offense in the NBA. Kevin Durant's been phenomenal. Excited to see how they do. It's going to be a fun season. Their NBA Cup group is tough.
Yes.
Maybe talk more about that next week. But other than that, that's all I got.
Yeah. So that'll do it for another edition of the Beyond the Mic podcast. We appreciate y'all tuning in to this one. Don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter, Beyond TM Podcast. That's Beyond with a capital B, capital TM, capital P. Podcast, if you will. So Beyond TM Podcast on X/Twitter. You can follow us there. Of course, you can subscribe to the KSAM YouTube channel so you don't, and then hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any stream on this channel, including Beyond the Mic. You can also follow us on Spotify and Apple as we release episodes over there on demand. So give us a follow. So if you missed the episode or you just want to come back and listen to it, maybe you missed a really bad take or a really good take, you can check it out on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. So coming out next week, we will, I think it'll be a pretty high school football laden episode because we'll be looking at round 1.
Probably make some picks
of the postseason, making some picks across the board from 6A all the way down to 2A. So that'll be a lot of our topic of conversation. College football, another college football weekend to discuss.
Probably the first college football rankings and the results afterwards.
Yes, so reacting to that. No more baseball to talk about.
Until
February. So. You're gonna be loaded pretty up on a lot of football talk over the next couple of months, but join us for that next week on Beyond the Mic. For John Clendenin and Justin Hardcastle, I'm Carlos Zimmermann, wishing you a great rest of your evening wherever you may be, and we will see you guys next week.